Hello, welcome back to our channel, where we talk about fitness and health. This is episode 6 of How to Be Consistent at Gym.
All right, so you actually did it. You made it through those first few tough months at the gym. You built the habit, you're being consistent, and now what? Now it's just another Tuesday, right? That initial buzz, that excitement, it's kind of gone. And here's the thing that nobody really talks about. Right around that 4-month mark is when a ton of really consistent people just stop. And it's not because it got too hard, it's because it got boring. And that is exactly what we are going to break down today.
I mean, does this sound at all familiar? You're just going through the motions. You find yourself checking your phone between every set. You've got the same tired playlist on repeat. The gym, which used to feel like this exciting place of progress, now just feels like another chore on your to-do list. It's just a box you have to check off. See, you're not losing strength, you're losing interest. And believe me, this is a super specific, totally predictable feeling, and it's a huge fork in the road.
So here's the game plan for this explainer. We are going to break down exactly what is going on here. First, we'll talk about something called the 3-month wall. Then we're going to get into the actual neuroscience of why success can feel, well, so boring. After that, we'll get practical with an 80-20 solution, look at some tools that go beyond the workout itself, and finally, we'll put it all together into your very own anti-boredom toolkit. Okay, so first things first, let's give this thing a name, the 3-month wall. And this is so important. This is not a personal failure at all. It's a totally predictable challenge that happens to the people who've been doing everything right. You're not broken, you're not failing, you're actually right on schedule. And this is the part that's kind of wild, right? We spend all this energy focusing on how to start going to the gym, but we almost never talk about what happens when you actually succeed at building the habit. The whole nature of the threat changes. It's not about pushing through soreness anymore or trying to find time in your schedule. No, now it's about fighting off pure, simple monotony once all that initial novelty is gone. So why does this even happen? You might be thinking it's some kind of flaw in your character, but it's not. It's actually a feature of your brain chemistry. Seriously. And once you understand the why behind it, that's the first real step to figuring out how to fix it.
Yeah, it pretty much all comes down to this thing called the dopamine dip. Think about it. In that first month, everything is brand new. Your brain is getting flooded with these huge hits of dopamine, the feel-good reward chemical. But by month 3, your brain's a pro. It is totally adapted. It knows exactly what to expect. So that same workout that used to feel amazing, now it barely registers. And your brain, which just loves novelties, starts to get bored and check out.
Okay, this next point is absolutely crucial. This changes everything. We have to completely reframe what boredom actually means in this context. It is not a warning sign that you're about to fail. Think of it more like a graduation certificate. Seriously, it's proof that you've mastered the basics, that you've become competent and consistent. The whole problem is that we mistake this feeling of mastery for a feeling of monotony. And that's the huge disconnect right there. You feel stuck and uninspired, but what's really happening is that you're being consistent and confident. You feel like you're failing, but the truth is, you're progressively overloading and getting stronger. You feel like you're losing motivation, but what's actually going on is your brain is signaling that it's ready for the next step. It's ready for a new, more interesting challenge. Okay, so if the big problem is a lack of novelty, what do we do? How do we fix it without just trashing all that amazing consistency we worked so hard to build? Well, the answer isn't to just jump to a totally new program. No, it's about applying a really simple rule that perfectly balances structure with a little bit of play. I want you to think of your training split like this. 80% of it, that's your foundation. That's the core stuff, your main lifts, how often you train, the whole principle of progressive overload. This is the engine that drives your results, and it doesn't change. But that other 20%, that's your playground. That's where you get to experiment and inject all that novelty your brain is screaming for. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, you keep your main lifts, like the squat, but maybe for a few weeks you swap the barbell back squat for a dumbbell goblet squat. You keep training, say, 3 times a week, but on one of those days, you try doing sets of 15 reps instead of your usual sets of 8. See what I mean? You're not changing the whole program, you're just changing the flavor. It's the same structure, but a different stimulus, which brings new excitement. Now, adding a little novelty to your exercises, that's a super powerful tool, for sure. But it's not the only one in our arsenal. There are 2 other secret weapons that can completely change your relationship with the gym, especially when you're feeling that boredom creep in: community and tracking. For the first couple of months, it's easy to be that lone wolf, headphones on, in your own world. But eventually, that can get pretty lonely. But when you start to build just a few connections, and I mean small ones, like asking someone for a spot or giving a genuine compliment, something amazing happens. The gym stops being this chore you have to do by yourself, and it starts feeling like a place where you actually belong. The workout is still the activity, sure, but the human connection is what starts to pull you back. And that other secret weapon, tracking your progress. Here's why this is so key. Change happens so slowly, so gradually, that it's basically invisible when you look in the mirror every day. I heard this story about someone who was feeling totally bored and stuck for weeks. They looked back at their training log and realized they had added 40 pounds to their bench press. 40 pounds! Can you imagine? That progress was 100% real, but it was completely hidden until they looked at the data. A single realization like that can reignite your motivation just like that.
All right, so we've looked at the problem, we've dug into the science, and we've talked about the solutions. Now let's pull all of this together into a simple, actionable toolkit that you can use like today to smash through that 3-month wall and just keep on going. Okay, so here's your homework for this week. I'm breaking it down into 4 super simple steps. Step 1, change just one thing. Swap one of your usual exercises for a new variation. Step 2, connect with one person. Ask for a spot, say hello, give a genuine compliment. Step 3, review your progress. Go look at your training log from week 1 and just see how far you've really come. And step 4, set one performance goal. Aim for a skill, like getting your first pull-up, not just something you see in the mirror. It'll give your training a whole new purpose.
Look, if there is only one thing you take away from all of this today, let it be this. Boredom is not a stop sign, it's a graduation certificate. You have proven that you can be consistent. It means the training wheels are off. You've mastered the basics, you've built the discipline, and now it's time to play. You've earned the right to make this fun.
So you see, the question isn't about whether you have discipline anymore. You've already proven you have that. The real question, the one that matters from here on out, is this. You've built the foundation. Are you ready to make fitness fun?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel, which give us motivation to make better content for you. See you in the next episode.